What's up? What's up, everybody? Armchair Quarterbacks here for your Week 9 previews. On this one, we have the commish versus this host slaps. That is me versus Alex. So let's take a look here at my team really quick. Currently, I'm starting Justin Herbert, Puka Nacua, Terry McLaurin, Breece Hall, Ken Walker, Dallas Goedert, Austin Eckler, and Jacoby Myers. What do you think here with my team this week so far? What are you seeing with the matchups?
Well, I'm hoping both of you guys lose so I could keep my first place, but
Kind of impossible for both teams to lose there.
yeah, call me salty about last week still, man. My team laid a big turd. Interesting stack you guys got here. At least your team, look at this. You got Herbert against the Jets.
Mm.
Then you got Breece Hall
Against the Chargers,
so you got that quarterback. Yep. But you also have Eckler. So really interesting there. Especially because you have the two running backs going against each other, which is kind of something mainly in DFS. That's something you don't want to do because you're assuming that the team that's running the ball more is eating up more clock, which means less time for the other player if you're going to do a red robin stack or round robin stack and bring it back. So
how do you
so
feel
we'll see
about
how that is?
How do you feel about Puka Nacua? I haven't had the chance to talk to you about that yet.
Oh no, yeah, because we were busy with Grandpa's birthday last Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. Who's the quarterback? Good grief.
I believe the backup quarterback is Rippin.
Okay,
Yep,
so yeah, Brett
Rippin.
Rippin, and then they signed some other dude.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, yeah, but Brett Rippin was a backup for the Broncos for a while. Moving back and forth between either backup or practice squad, I believe it was. But yeah, I mean, your boy takes a hit. Cooper Kupp takes a hit. My Darrell Henderson, Royce Freeman, Kyron Williams when he comes back, Higbee, Tutu Atwell, like that entire offense takes a huge hit. Even if it's Sean McVay, So against Green Bay, you guys are actually traveling, so get some of that West Coast to East Coast action there. See how that affects, especially with weather.
Right.
Now because it's getting a little bit colder. There is 79% chance of precipitation, so I mean that's got to be the worst right there. If you have the wind chill factor in Lambeau Stadium, and it's not snow, it's like sleet,
Wet. Yeah.
yeah, wet, muddy, freezing. Yeesh.
Yeah, that's pretty much how I'm feeling. I'm going back and forth between Puka Nacua and Jordan Addison, which unfortunately both of them have quarterback issues right now.
I honestly, if you want to throw a dart throw, I would even look at Chuba Hubbard, depending on, it doesn't sound like Sanders is healthy still, and it looks like Hubbard is the better runner right now. Especially against Indy. I forgot who it was. I think it was Established and Run, Evan Silva and Adam Leviton. They're saying that Indy actually had the fastest pace of play.
Right.
So even like the Cleveland game, what was it, a few weeks ago, just going back and forth, and it's like the amount of points, it's like what, 77 point over under, I believe it was the total.
Yeah.
So if Indy is that fast paced and Carolina can keep up with them, that's pretty good there for Hubbard if you really want to take a dart throw. Versus Addison, he's going to be going against Atlanta, which is slower paced because homeboy Arthur Smith loves to, run.
It's just unfortunate. This past week, my whole team, with all the quarterback injuries that happened this past week, my team is the one that took the hit because I got Puka Nacua with Matt Stafford issues. I got, the Jordan Addison, like we were just talking about, with Kirk Cousins going out for the season. Then I got Jacoby Myers, who they're saying that they're going to start the the rookie Aiden McConnell now. So it's just like, dude, my team, everybody except for pretty much Amon Ra is like taking a hit.
Yeah, but did your team die? Try my team. My team's dead.
That's true. Yeah. All right, so let's move over to Alex's team over here. So Alex is currently starting Jared Goff, who is on a bye week. He's also got Tyreek Hill, Amari Cooper, Alvin Kamara, Derrick Henry, Kyle Pitts, George Pickens, and DK Metcalf. How do you think Derrick Henry's going to fare this week? Do you think with Will Levis, that's going to be good for him?
Ooh, that's interesting, especially because that game's tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
I actually think that as long as what's his name? Willis?
Yeah, Will Levis.
As long as Will Levis is able to keep competent, and they like to run first.
Yeah.
So obviously Derrick Henry and Tajay Spears are going to get theirs. But if they could get their QB and it looks like he's better than Tannehill at this point. He's more mobile, right? Mm-hmm. He's going to pose a threat there. And if there's a threat of Treylon Burks and Hopkins, and now the passing game is a little bit more open, even just to give it that slight hesitancy for the defense, now you start opening up lanes more for the running backs.
Well, let me tell you,
so that's a huge
I was listening to the footballers earlier, and I think it was Mike Wright. He was saying something about Will Levis before last week's game, before he came into the game. There was no tape on him, no NFL tape on him. So teams only had his college tape to go off of to game plan against him. Nobody's really game planning against him because he wasn't named the starter. This week, he's named the starter. I'm pretty sure he was. And, they have at least one game of tape on him. So now they can kind of start game planning for how he's playing. Do you think that's going to affect him? Because, I think when he came out last week and he started throwing the ball, people were kind of surprised. Oh, he's throwing the ball deep. That's getting the Titans up on the scorecard. And then all of a sudden, hey, guess what? Derrick Henry can get involved. He's finally, this week, he had 22 touches because they were up in the game.
I mean, a little bit. I wouldn't put too much emphasis on that. No matter what, when a backup comes up, if you don't have a lot of tape on them, there's always going to be that first game advantage. So,
right.
Sure, maybe for this game, him and D Hops, they don't combine for three touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, maybe you give a couple of those to Derrick Henry or someone else. But I think is his skill still there? Is he still able to throw it down the field?
Right.
Maybe a little bit better. He has a little bit more juice than Tannehill at his age, for instance.
Right, that's true. Okay,
so
that's fair.
Yeah.
Anybody else here you want to talk about on Alex's team really quick?
I think Kamara will probably get his, especially against Chicago.
Yep.
I always love looking at some of these teams to see where they're playing, if they're playing in a dome or not.
Mm-hmm.
So, for instance, like Miami and Kansas City. They're both going to be. The one big advantage with Jacksonville when they played KC, I believe it was they were there for 2 weeks already when they're in the UK, when they had their London game.
Yeah.
So now you have Miami and KC. Even if one of them decides to show up a little early, realistically, they're there at the same time in Germany.
Yeah.
Not too much of a advantage for acclimation.
Oh, that's right. That's the Germany game. Oh, man.
It's the Germany game. Interesting that Pickens is stacked, here with the Derrick Henry. This is more of the stack that you'd want to be if you had an opposite stack.
Right.
If you're attacking one game. So that should be interesting. But now with Deontay Johnson back, he's kind of eaten into some of the target share of Pickens. So that's something to look at to see, how that fares going forward.
Yeah, no, definitely. I agree. So taking a look at Alex's bench here, he does have a backup quarterback with Brock Purdy, but he's also on a bye week. So if we were taking a look at the current available players, currently right now for
Should see
quarterback,
Derek Carr, right?
Derek Carr, Baker Mayfield, Geno Smith, Deshaun Watson, CJ Stroud, Jimmy G, Will Levis, Daniel Jones. Anybody, Gardner Minshew, Sam Howell, anybody you're looking at possibly streaming for bye weeks?
Yeah, if he wants to throw in Stafford, he could do that. He could throw in Brock Purdy if he really wants.
Yeah.
I would probably go. It's not the sexy move, but Derek Carr has been dumping it off to him. So if you're going to get that stack there where Kamara is getting those, those little check down safety net throws from Derek Carr, you're going to get that. It's at home, so they're probably favored by a lot more than if it was on the road. It's against Chicago. So either way, whether it's them ahead and it's all running from Kamara, or whether they're from behind and it's little checkdowns, Derek Carr looks pretty good. You could go CJ Stroud if you really wanted to. I think those are probably my top two right there.
Stroud, okay. I would also maybe look at the other two. I think Sam Howell and Gardner Minshew. Sam Howell does get the tough matchup up against New England, but that's also kind of going to benefit him as well, because then he's going to have to air it out. If they're going to, and it's looking like they're most likely going to play from behind.
No, I'm not.
You think it's going to be even?
Hell no. New England is trash.
That's true.
Think Mac Jones really going to score 4? Yeah, their gameplay is going to be so slow and so boring, and it's just going to be punt.
Well, what I'm saying is, if they do end up getting behind, Belichick will slow down the pace of play, and then Sam Howell's going to have to air it out when he's on the field.
I wouldn't go too crazy on the whole playing from behind thing. It also depends on who. Same thing for defense. We don't play with defense, but just because you're playing against a bad team doesn't necessarily mean your defense is going to fare better.
Okay.
If you don't have the pass rushers, or what's overlooked, especially something in DFS is you go with a high scoring teams for defense, because now you get more opportunities, more throws, more chances for a pick six or an interception. So playing from behind only works if your team is good enough and the other team is scoring fast enough to where you're going to get those garbage time points. I don't think that's with Mac Jones.
Well, speaking of that, you got Gardner Minshew. His team is pretty good. The offense is good enough to stack it on if they get behind. And then Carolina's defense, they've kind of, as of late, kind of not been as good. They have had to deal with some injuries. I think they're still dealing with injuries right now. So, I mean, different quarterbacks you can look at streaming, but Sean's top picks, and I agree with him, Derek Carr, Baker Mayfield. I'm just throwing out some other options that you got there. If you wanted to go with the Derrick Henry stack, you do have Will Levis. But yeah, so
my top picks were Derek Carr and CJ Stroud. Do not put Baker Mayfield on my mouth.
Sorry.
That is not on my lips.
Baker Mayfield was not there. I'm sorry. I apologize. CJ Stroud.
Especially because, just a heads up too, if you do decide to go Baker Mayfield, I believe he had some knee issues. So
yeah,
he got a little banged up with his knee. So he was they're forcing him to drop back more and check down to Chris Godwin versus those deep shots. So the A-dot's going to not be there.
Latest news is he did have a full practice today on Wednesday. So, but yeah, he is dealing with knee injury. Knee injuries are kind of rough to deal with anyway. So, all right, but that'll be it for this week 9 preview. Good luck to you, Alex, this week. Do not forget to try to stream a quarterback and start one in there. All right, we'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.